Hi, my name is Cameron Espalmer, and I'm going to be doing an album review for you guys today. We live during a time in music where we're always searching for the next big thing. I mean, how many times do you hear people talk online about finding the song of the summer or arguing over and questioning the validity of every pop artist's newest hit? Social media and fast fashion, in particular the United States, has adopted a culture that has now bled into Western music trends that move just as fast, which is why slowing down and finding peace in traditional, timeless music I think is so important. On that note, it was a great change of pace listening to Voyager by Ali Farka Touré. This incredible musician from Mali embodies what it means to create a legacy built on connecting generations and keeping the tradition of African culture alive, especially with this specific album. My journey through listening to this album and learning its history is one I'm eternally grateful for and cannot wait to share with all of you today. And I hope that because of the touching life and incredible career of Ali Farka Touré, a legendary guitarist and singer, that more of you will be open to going out of your comfort zone of just Spotify recommendations and iHeartRadio. To know the music, I think it's very important to know the artist first. Ali Farka Touré was born in 1939 and passed away from his battle with cancer in 2006. Though not part of his birth name, Farka, meaning donkey, was given to him by his parents. Due to his stubbornness. And his character and stubbornness is definitely reflected in his career as well. See, musical performances were often seen as like a lower class activity in Mali, but this stubborn donkey, he did not care. He rejected this idea and even pioneered the style of African desert blues in Mali. Desert blues blends traditional African music with the classic American blues. A guitar performance he saw as a child actually inspired him to learn how to play the guitar and break through the societal barriers of Malian culture. He started relentlessly creating music in the 1980s and put out 19 albums during his time alive. In that time, he earned 5 Grammy nominations, 3 of which he won. His music still has an incredible amount of influence today in his culture. He's a hugely renowned and respected musician, especially as the first African bluesman to gain popularity in Africa. He was known actually as the African John Lee Hooker. The death of Ali Farka Touré even triggered a mourning period for the people of Mali. All of this is what makes his last album, Voyager, so special to so many people. It also proves that Touré's unique sound and blend of cultures is nothing but timeless and resonates with people long after his passing. Voyager, like I previously stated, is a very unique album. It was actually curated and released by Touré's son, Vieux Farka Touré. The album features unreleased songs of his father's alongside some newer collaborations. This album revived Touré's music and brought it to a whole new generation of listeners, where it was once again well-loved, well-received by everyone. This proves that he didn't need to follow trends to encapsulate people into his music. He was a generational talent. Now, how does this album compare alongside the plethora of albums he put out while he was alive? One thing Vieux did very well was preserving the core style of the desert blues and guitar melodies to kind of keep it consistent with the integrity of his music. You'll see in these very classic styles, such as the album opener, Safari, which is one of my favorites, that we'll listen to in a little bit. Though, due to the extended period of time, obviously between these albums and Touré not being able to personally work on it himself, there's going to be inherent differences. His earlier albums were far more acoustic, while Voyager exhibits a lot of electronic and modern producing, which makes it honestly feel like these songs were written in this decade, which is probably what makes it so appealing to the newer generations that listen to it. One interesting fact, though, that you'd actually really never know from just listening to the album is how the actual curation of the albums differ and why they named the album Voyager. Voyager, the French word for traveler, doesn't really appear in any of the songs besides the song Safari, I guess, leading people to wonder how this became the name for such an important album. Fore's past albums were very carefully polished, and he worked really long and hard on them, and that was very evident. He got a lot of praise for that. But the album Voyager is a collection of things like concert warm-ups, spontaneous road sessions, and random rehearsals of the unreleased songs. And this is why the album varies in style a lot and might be a little less cohesive than what you'd hear in his past albums. He spent a great deal of the time that these songs were recorded actually on the road, but never lost sight of, his heritage and his culture through recording these albums and writing these songs on the road. So they thought the name Voyager was actually a perfect way to encapsulate what all these songs have in common. Now, the primary instrument used throughout the album is obviously the guitar, but his techniques and the rhythmic way that he plays the guitar is different from how people normally play the guitar in Western music, and blends two traditional Malian instruments, the kora and the, what is it called? The ngoni. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of this right, which is kind of a blend between like a harp and a normal guitar. And he kind of mimics that traditional instrument when he is playing the guitar in many of his songs. Yes. I'm very sorry, I had an interruption. I got a knock at my door. Anyways, besides the guitar, the songs on this album feature other instruments such as like a flute or a tambourine every once in a while, along with, like I said, the electronic producing. That's things that are added to it. Most of the songs on Voyager follow a cyclical, kind of repetitive guitar and percussion pattern that doesn't really change much. It focuses on like one melody and is often driven by like one singular chord. This allows for improvisation when performing the music, which is traditional, again, to African music, to improvise a lot, some of it. Tori sings many of the songs on this album in his native Malian languages to honor their oral tradition, and because of this, translation is really difficult, and we don't really have like specific lyrics readily available. And although we don't have specific lyrics from this album, we do have some English songs and translated songs from other albums, and then I also found the themes of some of the Voyager songs on a Malian website that I translated to English. So some of the themes that we see is one in Sambadio, which is track 3. It praises farmers. See, in Mali, their labor is often seen as really essential and dignified and really important to the community. Again, in track 7, Sadjona, I think, celebrates hunters for their West African tradition of being protectors and figures of bravery. And then finally, in track 5, Cherry, it acknowledges a strong emphasis on personal bonds, guidance, affection, and just kind of your connection within other people of the culture. What all these songs have in common is that all of them really value just hardworking everyday people. So now I'm going to show you guys one of the songs off of Voyager. I'm just gonna do like a 30-second clip of it. This is Safari. So you can hear the flute, the tambourine, and obviously the different ways he uses the guitar, either strumming or percussion-wise. Okay. All right. Is that in? Okay. What I've learned about Mali through my journey listening to Voyager, no pun intended, is that Malian culture uses music to honor everyday people. The purpose of it is to be grounded, and the album helped reveal more about Mali than I ever really would have known otherwise. The music tells stories and it praises hardworking everyday people and reveals that they honestly just put a lot of respect towards, labor, responsibility, and community. Although Tore's music was definitely entertaining and loved by many people, even outside of Mali, the repetitive structure and simple composition of the music proves that their culture used music more for like storytelling and remembrance rather than entertainment like we do in Western music. Voyager, I found that Voyager is not just meant to be a living memory of Ali Farka Touré and his achievements and career, it's also meant to be a living memory for Malian culture just as a whole. And I think that's really beautiful. So I hope you guys learned a lot. And yeah, thank you guys for having me.